Gen Z didn't inherit the future. They inherited the fallout. Think about it. A global financial crisis, a once-in-a-century pandemic, climate chaos, and political meltdowns everywhere. Not exactly the bright future every kid was promised, right? So it's no wonder that Gen Zers believe they'll end up worse off than their parents. Financially, emotionally, and politically. And honestly, they might not be wrong. But let's rewind for a second. Every generation starts with hope. Remember the old line? You can be anything you want to be when you grow up. The greatest generation went through world wars. Boomers lived through Vietnam. Millennials got wrecked by 9/11 and the 2008 crash. Yet somehow, most of them still managed to climb back up and shape the world. But Gen Z, their climb feels different, steeper, slipperier, and maybe even impossible. Born between 1997 and 2012, Gen Z grew up in a world already online. Millennials remember dial-up tones and bulky computers. Gen Z was born swiping on touchscreens. They never knew a world without the internet, smartphones, or social media. Technology wasn't something they discovered. It was the air they breathed. So naturally, they thought the future would be limitless. Instead, it turned out to be chaos. For older Gen Z, the first big memory might be 9/11. The wars that followed darkened an entire decade. Then came 2008. The financial collapse that crushed jobs, drained families, and slammed millennials, just as Gen Z was getting ready to enter the same market. And then, just when things seemed stable, COVID hit. A global shutdown. Schools closed. Proms, graduations, first jobs, first apartments, wiped out. College students stuck at home on Zoom. 8-year-olds thrown into online classes with teachers who barely understood how to use them. And when the world opened back up, it wasn't the same world anymore. Prices skyrocketed. Job opportunities vanished. The future felt like a bad trade deal. Ask any Gen Zer today what the biggest problem is, and you'll probably hear the same thing. I can't afford anything. Rent is ridiculous, groceries are insane, and salaries? Stagnant. Even people with so-called good jobs feel like they're barely keeping their heads above water. And that's if you can land a job at all. Thousands of resumes sent out. Silence. No callbacks. Not even a rejection email. Companies are cutting teams but doubling workloads for the people who remain. Everyone's replaceable and everyone knows it. Even higher education, once the golden ticket, doesn't pay off anymore. Degrees don't guarantee jobs, especially in the arts and humanities. Student debt is crushing. And retirement? Forget it. Their Gen X and Boomer bosses can't afford to step down. So there are no seats at the table. So Gen Z has turned to survival mode. Gig jobs, side hustles, and apps that treat workers like disposable cogs. Uber, DoorDash, freelancing platforms. Work today, maybe get paid tomorrow. No benefits, no stability, no future. And all of that takes a toll. Gen Z is the most depressed, anxious, and burnt-out generation ever recorded. Not just because of money, but because of the world itself. They scroll through endless doom. War footage, climate disaster predictions, political chaos, AI taking over jobs. Their phones are pipelines of bad news 24/7. And if the economy doesn't get them, climate change just might. Gen Z knows it. They're the loudest voices demanding solutions because they're the ones who will inherit the mess. Yet at the same time, they're watching rights get rolled back. Leaders fail to act and corporations chase profit over survival. To make it worse, technology, once their advantage, might also be their undoing. Social media rewired their brains. TikTok shortened attention spans. Now teachers, employers, and even Gen Z themselves admit focus is slipping, communication is breaking down, and AI might be gunning for their jobs before they even get a chance to start. Call it the job-pocalypse. So here's the question. Is Gen Z doomed to be the first generation that's truly poorer, lonelier, and more powerless than the one before it? Or will they be the generation that tears the system down and builds something new? Because ready or not, in a few years they'll be running the world. And they have a choice. Accept the chaos they inherited, or fight to rewrite the future.